The parking lot of Chez Laurent hasn't changed in the 8 months since my life exploded here. Same cracked asphalt, same flickering streetlight, same dumpster where I threw up after Nathan and Sean both walked away from me. I sit in my car now, engine off, watching couples enter the restaurant where I used to feel sophisticated, where I thought I was so modern, so evolved, so above the boring constraints of traditional marriage. The hostess still works Tuesday nights. I can see her through the window, seating a couple at table 12, our table, where Sean first told me he was falling in love with me and I didn't correct him about my arrangement with Nathan, where Nathan later found us, menu in hand, ready to surprise me for our anniversary, only to see me holding hands with a man who thought he was my approved side piece. 8 months later, and I still come here. Not inside, I'm banned after the scene we caused, but to this parking lot, this front row seat to my spectacular self-destruction. Dr. Peterson, the therapist Nathan insisted I see during our divorce proceedings, called it rumination. I call it what I deserve. A weekly reminder of how Erica Caldwell destroyed 2 good men with 1 terrible lie. We have an open marriage. 6 words that seemed so simple when I first said them to Sean at that hotel bar in Miami. 6 words that felt like freedom, like power, like having my cake and eating it too. 6 words that turned out to be a demolition crew for everything I'd built. But let me go back. Back to when I was just another bored wife in the suburbs of Detroit, married 11 years, convinced I was suffocating in monogamy. Nathan and I met in our late 20s, both of us climbing corporate ladders at competing firms. The attraction was immediate, not just physical, but intellectual. He challenged me, debated me, never let me win an argument just to keep the peace. When he proposed after 2 years, I said yes without hesitation. He was my equal, my match, my partner in conquering the world. The first 7 years were good, great even. We traveled, advanced in our careers, bought the house in Bloomfield Hills, talked about kids someday when we were ready. We were the couple friends envied, still flirting at parties, still sneaking off for weekend getaways, still choosing each other every day. Then the choosing became routine. The flirting became scheduled. The weekend getaways became obligation. We were still good together, still loved each other, but the spark had mellowed into a steady flame. Comfortable, predictable, safe. "Is this it?" I asked my friend Diane over wine one night. "Is this what marriage becomes? Meal planning and joint tax returns and missionary position on Saturday nights?" "Welcome to your 30s, she laughed. "At least Nathan still wants sex on Saturdays. Greg and I are down to monthly if I'm lucky." But I didn't want to welcome it, didn't want to accept that passion had an expiration date, that marriage meant trading excitement for stability. I wanted both, deserved both. Why should I have to choose? That's when I started reading about open marriages. Ethical, non-monogamy, polyamory. All these evolved couples who'd figured out how to have security and adventure, commitment and freedom. The articles made it sound so simple. Just communicate, set boundaries, be honest. Everyone wins. I brought it up to Nathan once, casually, over dinner. "What do you think about open marriages?" I asked, cutting into my chicken. He looked up, confused. "What about them?" "Just curious. Michelle from yoga says her sister and brother-in-law have one. Been married 15 years, happier than ever." Nathan set down his fork. "Are you asking if I want to sleep with other people?" "Because I don't." "No, I'm just saying it's interesting." "How some couples make it work." "Some couples also live in separate houses and only see each other on weekends. Doesn't mean it's for us." He reached for my hand. "I'm happy with just you, Erica." "Are you happy with just me?" "Of course," I said, squeezing back. And I meant it, mostly. But the seed was planted. Every time Nathan worked late, every time we chose Netflix over conversation, every time sex felt like checking a box, I thought about those articles. Those evolved couples with their exciting lives and multiple partners and freedom to explore. I wasn't looking for an affair when I met Sean. I was in Miami for a medical conference. I worked in pharmaceutical sales. And he was at the hotel bar, alone like me, tired from his own day of meetings. We struck up a conversation about the overpriced drinks, which led to sharing conference horror stories, which led to him buying the next round. Sean was everything Nathan wasn't. Where Nathan was steady and analytical, Sean was impulsive and artistic. A graphic designer who freelanced so he could travel, who told stories about sketching sunsets in Thailand and teaching English in Prague. He had this energy, this hunger for life that made me remember I used to be hungry too. "You're married," he said, noticing my ring when I reached for my third martini. This was the moment. The crossroads where I could have said yes, finished my drink, gone up to my room alone. Instead, I heard myself saying, "Yes, but we have an open marriage." His eyebrows rose. "Really? How does that work?" "Oh, you know," I said, the lie flowing easily after 3 drinks. "We love each other but recognize that one person can't meet all your needs. We're secure enough to let each other explore connections with other people. Very European." "That's incredibly evolved," Sean said, leaning closer. "Your husband must be very confident." "He is," I said, thinking of Nathan at home, probably asleep already, confident in my fidelity. "We have rules, of course, always honest with each other, always come home to each other. The primary relationship comes first." Every word was a betrayal, but they felt so good to say. Like I was this sophisticated woman living an unconventional life, not a bored wife lying in a hotel bar. Sean was fascinated, asking questions about how we handled jealousy, how we decided to open up, how long we'd been doing this. I invented answers, painting a picture of a marriage so secure it could handle anything. "I've never met anyone like you," he said. "Most people aren't ready for this level of honesty in relationships," I replied, the irony completely lost on me. We went up to his room. I told myself it was just this once, just this trip. What happened in Miami stayed in Miami. Nathan would never know, no one would get hurt, and I'd have this memory of passion to carry me through the routine waiting at home. But Sean texted the next day, and the next. Sweet messages about thinking of me, hoping my flight was good, wondering when he might see me again. He lived in Chicago, only a 4-hour drive from Detroit. Close enough to be possible, far enough to be safe. "I can't stop thinking about you," he wrote. "I know you have your life, your arrangement, but I'd love to see you again, within whatever boundaries you and your husband have established, of course." The respectful way he acknowledged my fictional open marriage made the lie grow. Suddenly, I wasn't just a cheating wife. I was a woman in an alternative relationship structure. Sean wasn't a homewrecker. He was a secondary partner who understood his place. This wasn't an affair. It was an arrangement. The delusion was intoxicating. I started visiting Chicago for work trips. Told Nathan I was expanding my territory, building new client relationships. He was supportive, proud of my ambition. Even helped me book hotels, not knowing I was staying at Sean's loft in Wicker Park. With Sean, I was the Erica I wanted to be. Adventurous, spontaneous, desired. We went to art shows, tried fusion restaurants, made love in the afternoon. He introduced me to his friends as someone special, always careful not to overshadow my primary relationship. They all thought I was so brave, so modern, living authentically while so many people stayed trapped in monogamy. "How does Nathan handle you being gone?" Sean asked once, tracing patterns on my bare back on a Sunday morning. "He has his own interests," I lied. "Sometimes he sees other people too. We don't always share details. That's one of our boundaries." "He's a lucky man," Sean said, "to have a wife secure enough to let him explore, and who he trusts enough to do the same. The guilt should have hit then." Nathan wasn't exploring anything except quarterly reports and Netflix documentaries. But I pushed it down, told myself I was just living the life I deserved, the life Nathan was too conventional to want. The lies multiplied like cancer cells. I created fake conferences to explain my absences, bought new lingerie and hid it at the office, got a separate credit card for my Chicago expenses, told Nathan it was for business purchases to make taxes easier. I became an expert at deception, at living two lives, at being two different people. With Nathan, I was the wife he'd always known. We still had our routines, our inside jokes, our Saturday night sex. I tried not to compare him to Sean, tried not to wish he'd push me against a wall with urgency instead of asking, "Are you in the mood?" But the comparison was always there, poisoning what we had. "You seem different lately," Nathan said one night over dinner. "Happier, more energetic." "New workout routine," I said. "You know how endorphins are." "Maybe I should join you. We could work out together." "Oh, it's a women-only class," I said quickly. "Very empowering. You wouldn't like it." He nodded, accepting yet another lie, because why would his wife of 11 years lie to him? Our marriage was built on a foundation of trust, and I was spending that trust like it was a stolen credit card with no limit, charging far more than I could ever repay. 6 months into my double life, Sean started pushing for more. "I want to meet him," he said one night after I'd mentioned I couldn't stay for a concert because Nathan and I had plans. "Your husband. I want to meet the man who's confident enough to share you." That's not really how we do things," I stammered. "We keep our other relationships separate, less complicated." "But I'm falling in love with you, Erica." "This isn't just fun for me anymore. I respect your marriage, your boundaries, but I need to know where I fit in your life long term." Love. The word I'd been avoiding, pretending not to see in his eyes, pretending not to feel creeping into my own heart. This was supposed to be an adventure, not an emotion. A story, not a relationship. "Sean, you know my situation?" "I do." "And I've been respectful. But if we're going to continue, I need more integration. Maybe we could all have dinner." I've read that's common in poly relationships, getting to know your metamors. Metamors. He'd been reading about polyamory, trying to understand the rules of a game I'd made up. The fictional framework I'd created was becoming a prison, and he was decorating his cell. "Let me talk to Nathan," I said, buying time. This would be a big step for us. I drove home in a panic. How had a simple lie become this complex? How was I supposed to produce a husband who was comfortable with his wife's boyfriend when that husband didn't even know the boyfriend existed? For a week, I avoided Sean's texts. Told him Nathan was processing the idea of meeting, needed time to adjust to this evolution in our arrangement. Meanwhile, Nathan noticed my distance, my anxiety, my constant phone checking. "Everything okay at work?" he asked. "You seem stressed." "Big presentation coming up," I lied. "Make or break for the new territory." "You'll nail it. You always do." He kissed my forehead, supportive of a career challenge that didn't exist. I might have kept the lie going indefinitely if not for my fundamental mistake. Underestimating Nathan. He wasn't stupid, wasn't oblivious. He was just trusting, giving me the benefit of the doubt long past when he should have. But eventually, even the most trusting spouse notices when their partner has 47 receipts from Chicago they can't explain. I was in the shower when he found them. I'd hidden them in my laptop bag, planning to enter them in my fake expense reports later. But he was looking for the car insurance documents I'd said were in there, and instead found evidence of my double life. Hotel receipts, restaurant bills for two, a receipt from a lingerie store I'd never mentioned. All from Chicago, all during my supposed work trips. When I came out of the bathroom, he was sitting on the bed, receipts spread out like evidence in a trial. "Erica," he said, voice deadly calm. "We need to talk. Those are for work, Don't." He held up a hand. "Please don't lie to me anymore." "I know these aren't work expenses. I called your office. You haven't been assigned any Chicago territory. You haven't had any conferences there." My towel felt like tissue paper, barely covering my guilt. "Nathan, I can explain up. Are you having an affair?" The direct question settled like a weight between us, This was my chance to come clean, to tell the truth, to maybe salvage something. Instead, I doubled down on the lie. It's not an affair. It's more complicated than that. Then uncomplicate it for me. I sat on the edge of the bed, as far from him as possible. I've been seeing someone. But it's not what you think. I've been thinking about our marriage, about how we've lost passion. And I thought maybe if we... If we what? His voice was rising. If we lied to each other? If we snuck around? If we opened our marriage, I blurted out. Like evolved couples do. I've been exploring it, seeing if it could work for us. He stared at me like I'd grown a second head. Exploring it, without telling me, without asking me, just deciding for both of us? I was going to tell you. When? After you'd been fucking someone else for how long? Months? Nathan never swore, never raised his voice. Seeing him this angry was like watching a familiar landscape crack open to reveal lava underneath. I thought if I could show you it worked, that I could handle it, you'd be more open to the idea. You thought wrong. He stood, receipts crumpling in his fist. This isn't an open marriage, Erica. This is cheating. This is betrayal. This is you deciding our vows meant nothing. Our vows were 11 years ago. People change. Marriages evolve. Not like this. Not with lies and deception and whatever the hell you've been doing in Chicago. He started to leave, then turned back. His name. I want his name. Why? Because I need to know who my wife chose over our marriage. I need to know who was worth throwing away 11 years. Sean Morrison, I whispered. And does Sean Morrison know you're married? Yes. Does he know I don't know about him? This was the trap. The moment where all my lies would either compound or collapse. He thinks we have an open marriage. Nathan laughed, bitter and short. Of course he does. So you didn't just lie to me. You lied to him too. You're quite the evolved wife, aren't you? He left then, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the pictures on the wall. Wedding photos, vacation snapshots, 11 years of genuine happiness I'd traded for 6 months of manufactured excitement. I called Sean immediately, panic overriding sense. Nathan found out, I said when he answered. About us. He's upset, but I think once he calms down... Wait, what? Found out? I thought he knew. You said you had an open marriage. We do. We will. It's just... He wasn't ready for the reality of it. Theory versus practice, you know? Erica, what are you saying? Did he know about me or not? It's complicated. It's not complicated. It's a yes or no question. Did your husband know you were seeing me? My silence was answer enough. Jesus Christ, you lied to me. This whole time you've been lying to me. Sean, please. I was going to tell him. I was just waiting for the right time. The right time? I've been the other man in an actual affair? I've been helping you cheat? It's not cheating if... If what? If you lie about it being ethical? If you pretend it's some evolved relationship choice? God, Erica, do you even hear yourself? I love you, I said desperately. Doesn't that count for something? You don't love me. You love the idea of me, the excitement, the secret, the story you get to tell yourself about being so modern and free. But love doesn't lie for 6 months. Love doesn't trick someone into being complicit in betrayal. Sean Dash. Lose my number. And tell your husband I'm sorry. I genuinely thought he knew. I would never... I'm not that guy. Except apparently I am, thanks to you. He hung up. I called back 17 times. He never answered. Nathan came home at 3 a.m., drunk for the first time since his bachelor party. He stood in the doorway of our bedroom, swaying slightly. I keep trying to understand, he said. Keep trying to figure out when I lost you. What I did wrong. What I didn't give you. You didn't do anything wrong. Clearly I did. Something. Otherwise, my wife wouldn't have invented an entire relationship structure just to justify fucking another man. It wasn't about you. Bus. Of course it was about me. I was too boring, too predictable, too safe. I get it. 11 years of the same person, same sex, same life. I get why you wanted more. What I don't get is why you couldn't just talk to me. Would you have agreed to an open marriage? I asked. No, he said simply. I wouldn't have. I love you. Loved you. I wanted just you. But if you'd been honest about needing more, we could have worked on it. Counseling, date nights, whatever. Or we could have divorced honestly, let each other find what we needed. Instead, you chose this. He slept in the guest room that night. The next morning, he was gone before I woke up. A note on the kitchen counter said he was staying with his brother, would be in touch through lawyers. I thought I could fix it. Thought if I gave him time to cool down, explained my side better, maybe even got Sean to confirm that he'd believed we were open, Nathan would understand. I wasn't a bad person. I was just a woman who'd tried to have everything and gone about it wrong. But Sean wouldn't return my calls. And Nathan's lawyer sent papers within a week. And suddenly everyone knew. Nathan told his family. His family told mutual friends. The story spread, twisted with each telling. I became the woman who'd gaslit her husband into thinking he'd agreed to an open marriage, who'd manipulated an innocent man into an affair, who'd lied to everyone. My own friends were split. Some understood the gray area, the complexity of desire in marriage and modern relationships, but most were horrified. Diane, who'd listened to me complain about marital boredom, was the most direct. You could have just gotten divorced, Erica. Or actually talked to Nathan about opening things up. This manipulative bullshit, this is on you. Work found out when I had to adjust my territory because driving to Chicago triggered panic attacks. My boss, professionally neutral but personally disgusted, suggested I focus on local opportunities for a while. Everyone knew that meant I was being professionally iced out, removed from any growth opportunities. The lowest point came the night I went to Chez Laurent. It had been 2 months since everything exploded. 2 months of lawyers and division of assets and friends choosing sides. I was raw, desperate, convinced that if I could just talk to Sean or Nathan, really explain myself, they'd understand. Nathan had texted earlier that day, "Can we meet?" Neutral territory, need to discuss some final details. I'd suggested Chez Laurent, our special occasion place. Maybe being somewhere with good memories would help. Maybe he was ready to forgive. I arrived early, ordered wine, checked my reflection 10 times. I'd worn the dress he'd bought me for our 10th anniversary, done my makeup the way he liked. Pathetic attempts to remind him of who we'd been. But when Nathan walked in, he wasn't alone. Sean was with him. They sat down across from me like some twisted intervention. Nathan calm and cold, Sean uncomfortable but determined. "What is this?" I managed. "Closure," Nathan said. "Sean reached out after you wouldn't stop harassing him. We've been talking. Comparing notes. Thought you should hear what your lies did to both of us." "Nathan, please." "I loved my wife," he said, talking to Sean like I wasn't there. Trusted her completely. When she started talking about expanding territory, I was proud, supported her ambition. Never occurred to me she was manufacturing a double life. "I thought I was part of something evolved," Sean added, also not looking at me. Thought I'd found this amazing woman who was secure enough to love multiple people ethically. I did research, tried to be the best secondary partner possible. Never wanted to threaten her marriage. "You were perfect," Nathan told him, respectful of boundaries that didn't exist, following rules I didn't know about. She played us both. "This is cruel," I said, "ganging up on me." "Cruel?" Nathan finally looked at me. "Cruel is letting me plan our anniversary dinner while you were in Chicago. Cruel is coming home smelling like another man and gaslighting me into thinking I was imagining things. Cruel is making Sean complicit in destroying a marriage he was trying to respect." "I never meant—" "You meant everything," Sean cut in. "Every lie was calculated. Every story about your evolved marriage was designed to keep me on the hook. You knew I wouldn't have pursued a married woman having an affair, so you invented a scenario where I wasn't doing anything wrong. The restaurant was filling up around us. Other couples on dates, celebrating, living honest lives. Our waiter approached, sensed the tension, retreated. Nathan pulled out an envelope. "Divorce papers," he said. "Already signed my parts." "No contest, clean split. You get half of everything, which is more than you deserve, but what the law says is fair." "Nathan, we can work through this." "No, we can't, because working through it would require honesty, and I don't think you know what that is anymore. Maybe you never did." Sean stood to leave. "I'm done too. Don't contact me again. I've blocked your number, your email, your social media. Whatever fantasy you're living in, I want no part of it." "You said you loved me," I said desperately. "I loved who I thought you were." "But that person doesn't exist. Maybe she never did." They left together. Two men I'd claimed to love, united in their disgust for me. I sat there, wine untouched, dress feeling like a costume, until the manager quietly asked me to leave. "There's been a complaint," he said gently, "about a disturbance. Perhaps it's best if you go." Even the restaurant was rejecting me. I barely made it to the dumpster before throwing up, my body rejecting the nothing I'd eaten along with the everything I'd lost. That was 8 months ago. The divorce was final 6 months ago. Nathan got the house. I couldn't afford it alone anyway. I got half the savings, enough to rent a small apartment in Ferndale, far from our old neighborhood where everyone knew what I'd done. I still work at the same company, but I'm a ghost. Passed over for promotions, left off important projects, invited to meetings only when absolutely necessary. They can't fire me for having an affair, but they can make sure I know I'm morally suspect. Dating is a joke. My reputation precedes me in our social circles. Erica Caldwell? The one who gaslit her husband about an open marriage? Even on dating apps where I try to start fresh, the questions come. So what happened with your marriage? I can't tell the truth. Who would date a known liar and manipulator? But I can't lie either. I've seen where that leads. So I come here, to this parking lot, to watch happy couples enter Chez Laurent for honest dates, to remind myself of the night 2 good men sat across from me and held up a mirror I couldn't bear to look into. Dr. Peterson says I have narcissistic tendencies, that I created a fantasy where I was the hero, the evolved woman breaking free from societal constraints, rather than face the reality that I was just another bored spouse who chose deception over communication. She says recovery starts with accountability, with sitting in the discomfort of who I really was. So I sit here, in my car, in this parking lot, watching the restaurant where my lies came home to roost. Nathan got married again last month. A colleague mentioned it casually, not knowing the news would gut me. A woman from his company, someone age-appropriate and honest who probably never used the phrase ethical non-monogamy as a weapon. Someone who wants just him, who sees him as enough, who doesn't need a side piece to feel alive. Sean's still in Chicago. His design firm won a major award recently. I stalked the announcement online from a fake account. He thanked his partner in his acceptance speech. Someone new, someone he didn't have to share, someone who told him the truth from the beginning. They both moved on, built real relationships on honest foundations, while I'm still here in this parking lot, clinging to the wreckage of the fantasy I created. We have an open marriage. 6 words. That's all it took to destroy everything. 6 words that I thought made me modern and free, but really just made me a liar, a manipulator, a woman so afraid of ordinary happiness that she invented an extraordinary lie. The hostess is locking up now. Chez Laurent is closing, another Tuesday night in the books. Happy couples are heading home together, secure in their honest relationships. And I'm still here in the dark, in my car, finally understanding that the prison I felt in my marriage was nothing compared to the prison of being someone nobody can trust. I start the engine, pull out of the lot, drive home to my empty apartment. Tomorrow, I'll tell Dr. Peterson about tonight, about sitting in the parking lot again. She'll ask what I'm hoping to find there, and for once, I'll tell the truth. I'm not hoping to find anything there. I go to remember what I lost, what I threw away, what I personally killed with 6 words and countless lies. Some people have open marriages, real ones, built on trust and communication and respect. I'll never be one of them. Because openness requires honesty, and I chose deception. I chose to have my cake and eat it too, and ended up choking on my own greed. The parking lot will be there next Tuesday, and probably the Tuesday after that. My penance, my reminder, my front row seat to the life I could have had if I'd just been brave enough to tell the truth, or kind enough to let Nathan go, or wise enough to know that sometimes ordinary love is extraordinary enough.